right, I'll share my screen and I'll move this to the side. Can you see my screen? No? There we go.
Now I can, yeah.
Okay, so Daniel and I are going to go through using Chrome developer tools to check UX changes or any changes that have happened to the UI. He's pretty familiar with it, so we're going to try to talk together and show how it's done. Okay, so let's say that I guess we could just do this pipelines page here. Maybe we'll go to pipeline rows. A lot of failed pipelines here because I'm testing something. Okay, so what I usually do is on Mac, I do Command Option J to open up the console, the developer console, and then I go to Elements. I usually keep it pinned at the bottom. If you would like to view mobile, there is an icon to the left of the developer tools right beside Elements that shows toggle device. It says the tooltip toggle device toolbar. If you click that, that'll put you in sort of a mobile state where you can drag and view different pixel widths at the top. So like right now would be 1031 pixels. So I can go back down and go back up to view different pixel widths to see if anything is breaking at a certain screen size. There's also set widths. So we could say we got a Galaxy S5 here. So let's see what this particular view looks like on a Galaxy S5. Pixel 2, iPhone 6, 7, 8. I typically view everything at 100% because that's going to be the most accurate that I've found. Sometimes things can look off, if you go down to different sizes. Do you have any preference for that, Daniel, or is that kind of how you do it as
No,
well?
it's more or less what I do the same. The only thing I would do then also toggle landscape versus portrait settings,
Yep,
but again,
that's
that's kind
that's
of
that's a good
complicated stuff.
idea.
Higher.
Yep. Where is that actually?
You were right there to the right of
Oh,
that.
oh, that's right. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to turn the phone sideways or turn it portrait mode. Um, so that's pretty much as far as it goes with mobile. Um, Testing as far as in Chrome. Um, well, we could probably get out of mobile to show this a little better. Maybe we should show select an element to inspect it.
Yeah.
So you think so?
Yeah. So just doing this is the simple way.
Yeah. So you can use this to view different elements on the page, their padding, their margin, and as you hover over the different elements on the page, you'll notice that the developer console is actually highlighting the element in HTML. So once you click that, you'll be able to see the element. So we know this is a div with a class of commit GL responsive table row. So this is a pipeline table row that we render on this particular view. And if you go to the right, you will notice that we have styles. So these are actually the styles that are pulled from our actual product, our code, and you can switch on and off the different styles to see how it's going to affect. So this particular table row has a border bottom for each element. So if we take that off, you could say, okay, well, this is what it would look like without that. You can adjust padding. So it looks like here we have padding top and bottom of 16 pixels and left and right of 0. So if we wanted to adjust that, we come in here and we adjust it with a down arrow or type in what you want to do. So let's say if we want to change the padding top and bottom to 10 pixels, that would have that effect. And also remember that none of this is permanent, so you can do what you like in the browser. If you refresh, all of this will disappear. It's not having any effect. You also can click on elements. You can right click them. You can add attributes. So if you wanted to add an attribute of ID, equals hello, you can do that. Add different classes. So if there's a class that in the code base, so like if let's one up here, this will probably look really terrible, but we could say CI table. That would, well, actually it didn't have any effect, but you can add different classes to see different things. If you don't want to see an element on the page, let's say we just want to get rid of this entire pipelines container, we can right click it and say hide element. So that'll get rid of that. Not very helpful, but for that particular use case. But if you wanted to see what it looked like without these buttons, you can do that. Also, you can use this to find different elements, but also you can right click on it and click inspect, and it'll take you to that element as well. And then you can right click and say hide element, and it'll get rid of it. But it actually still stays in the DOM. So if you right click and unshow it, if you actually want to get it out of the DOM, you can click the delete button, and it actually deletes the element out of the DOM. Let's see.
I think the other important thing is the live CSS. So if you wanted to, say, for example, change margins or paddings on the right, you just find the element in the CSS and you can increase or decrease that, or change colors, fonts. So that's normally what I use it for, to try and find things to make changes.
Are you talking about what I was doing earlier, like actually editing the CSS live?
Oh, right.
Oh, okay. That is what you were talking about?
Well, yeah, because you started deleting buttons. So I was like, oh, we can do it within the CSS.
Oh,
Changing
right,
colors and
right.
stuff.
I just wanted to show that feature of
Sure.
like if you actually wanted to remove something. But yeah, that's completely right. So say if we're hovering over this button, what he was saying, if you wanted to adjust things, like this button has a margin right of 10. If you want to go to margin right 40 pixels, you do it like that. If you want to take off display flex, just uncheck it. And that's pretty much it. So like we have this class has a class of button. It has a border radius of a border radius of 4 pixels. If we want to increase that, we do that to 16 pixels, and now we have a completely circle button in the view. Trying to think what else may be helpful. Can you think of anything, Daniel?
That's most of the stuff that I just use it for. Some people have done more like troubleshooting, like looking at performance or sources in console, but that's not necessarily relevant.
Right. I'm trying to think of only things that would be really relevant to like a UX review.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be about it, I would say.
Okay, cool.
But even then, the predominant thing is looking at the image itself and looking at the work files that were given to developer to see, do they make sense?
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So for instance, a typical UX review or a typical, starting of the UX review, for instance, I'm working on this issue, child parent pipelines. And Dimitri, our designer for our stage, will provide me something along these lines of a workflow for UX of what I'm supposed to achieve, and then I will replicate that in the code base, and then he will then go through these steps to make sure the padding looks good and everything's up to spec like it should be, and it works on different views, or not different views, different widths that it's displaying correctly. So I think that's pretty good for this video, unless you have anything to add, Daniel.
No, that was it. Just the key points where you already went over, so that's good.
Okay, great. Thanks a ton for, I know I probably went over some stuff that you already know, but hopefully,
it's all good.
Hopefully this video will help some others.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'll
See you
stop
later then.
recording now. Let's see.